The first ever single Lord pack for Total War Warhammer 3 is almost upon us, so the time has come to see what units we're getting with Bhashiva the White Tiger. With this Lord pack, we're getting 6 or 7, don't say it, new units, depending on if you count Bhashiva herself. Our new legendary Lord is a powerful melee battler with excellent attack and defense, along with high armor piercing, magical, flaming damage, with a bonus versus infantry. That is a lot of modifiers on the damage, but it all boils down to her being really good at killing basically anything you put in front of her, no problem. Her high defense can keep her relatively safe in melee, but the low armor and lack of shields does make her a little vulnerable to ranged, so be sure to keep her out of the way of that. You want to use her on the flanks to sneak up on enemy backlines and have her take out key targets like lords and heroes before they can react. When charging, she gains bonus speed and damage, especially if she impacts enemies in the back, so make sure you're making the most of this for a very strong start to combat. All this sneaking around should be a breeze with her Vanguard deployment, Strider and Stalk, but if you really want to surprise enemies, you can use her Heaven's Gate item to literally teleport into combat for massive damage. Plus, you can use her abilities to reduce nearby enemy defense and speed, and empower all nearby Tiger Warrior units with extra attack and leadership. She is very strong at what she does, and what she does can be a little tricky, but the payoff is more than worth it. Our new generic lords are the Tiger Warrior Sawais. Naturally, these are quite similar to Bhashiva, but obviously not quite as powerful. You're still going to want to get on the flanks to make the most of those bonuses to charging speed and damage, only now they have a bonus versus large, so aim for large backlines units, like mounted characters, to really maximise value. If they're attacked by fire damage, they hilariously acquire fire damage themselves, along with a massive boost to their armor piercing, along with the ability to cause terror. I mean, it makes sense. If I saw a Tiger Man on fire running at me, I'd probably be pretty alarmed too. Other than that, they can massively increase their attack at the cost of damage and boost the damage of other nearby Tiger units. They're still very strong lords that want to be used much the same as Bhashiva, but of course they're not quite as strong as the White Tiger herself. We also have a couple of new heroes. First up, Tao Yan the Merciless. Girls really do be getting it done this DLC. Tao Yan is a very powerful melee combatant with a great balance of damage and defense. Her attack and defense stats are both extremely strong, and she deals a nice chunk of armor-piercing magical damage with a bonus versus large. With her high armor, she's also very hard to take down, no matter how you do it. All of this adds up to make one very tanky fighter that can take down legions of enemies before they break a sweat. Of course, larger targets are the main draw to make the most of that bonus damage. With that said, it's only a 25 bonus damage, so infantry are just fine too if you can't find anything big. Her abilities allow her to increase allied leadership, boost her own stats as she takes more damage, and plummet enemy defense whilst granting herself terror and executioner, making finishing off characters a breeze. Her one downside is her speed, which isn't awful, she's just not all that quick, so may struggle to keep up with most targets. Still, she's a phenomenal battler that can put in a serious shift no matter where you throw her. For our new generic heroes, we got some Tiger Casters known as Claw Speakers, and these come in 3 flavours of Beasts, Life or Shadows, which are all pretty great choices of laws if you ask me. Casting aside, they are pretty weak battlers with some okay melee stats but very low non-armor piercing magical damage and very low armor. If there's some zombies or something, then sure, but otherwise, keep them safe and out of the way and stick to casting. They also come with a bonus passive that increases all Tiger Warrior resistance whenever they cast, along with the ability to heal and replenish the vigor of target Tiger units. They're great casters with strong support abilities, so no complaints here, just not much more to say other than that. And finally to the actual Tiger Warrior units themselves, the melee infantry. First up, Tiger Warriors. Quite like their lord, Tiger Warriors are all about sneaky flanks to take down enemies before they know what hit them. They have moderately high speed, allowing them to use cover to get around enemies. Their melee stats are okay with good attack and mid defense. This, combined with their low armor and strong non-armor piercing damage, makes them best suited for focusing down ranged infantry or other units that can't fight back and don't have much armor. If you think of them as slow-moving cavalry or bigger, slower warhounds, then they'll make a lot of sense. They are not a frontlines infantry unit, so do not try to use them as such, otherwise you will be sorely disappointed. Tiger Warrior Stalkers drop the entity count and armor to gain some boost to speed, defense, and armor piercing damage. They are still excellent flanking units now able to cut through some armor, though the low armor themselves does make them even more fragile, so you still want to stick to units that won't send much damage back. Along with this, you also have some limited ammo ranged missiles with low range but high damage. This is more there to soften up targets before they charge, since you will burn through their ammo in seconds. Still, it's some extra damage they can get off for basically free, so no complaints here. They take everything that the regular warriors do great and do it better, so an excellent upgrade. And lastly, the Iron Claw Tiger Warriors. These are more of an upgrade from the regular warriors with the same speed, but much improved armor, defense, and armor piercing damage. They still want to be used much the same to get on the flanks, but now they're able to take some slightly higher threats on, such as charging the backs of the enemy front lines, thanks to their increased damage and survivability. They still chunk through ranged infantry in no time, but if the coast is clear, then by all means, sandwich enemy front lines to break them instantly. I wish I had more to say than that, but they're like the other units, but better. If you want the best flanking Tiger Warriors infantry unit, this is it. If I was going to build some Cathay armies based around using these new units, I'd probably stick to a fairly balanced comp with regular front lines and missile units, and then use Tiger Warriors to replace the slot I'd use for monsters or cavalry. This way you can have a solid base that's relatively easy to manage, meaning you can give as much of your focus as possible to your Tigers, which is good since they can be a little bit tricky to use well. Whilst the main army is holding the line and shooting at enemies to get their attention, your Tigers have plenty of room to get on the flanks and into their back lines. No matter who you're against, this will work decently since you can take out whatever you find, whether that's back lines, the backs of the front lines, or even Roman cavalry. Of course, it works best with endgame units, but this principle can be applied all campaign long, with you using whatever units are available to you at the time. One last thing I want to mention with Tiger units is that none of them are part of the Harmony system that all other Cathay units are affected by. This means no bonuses for placing them near opposite aligned units, which is a mild downside, but it also means they have the freedom to go and attack wherever they want without feeling like you are missing value. I believe with a composition like this, you'll be able to dismantle more or less whatever enemies throw at you and form your new Tiger Republic in no time. But if you instead want to have every single race in Warhammer 3 explained, then check out this video all about exactly that.